And it's recording. Hey. Hold on, let me just make sure. Okay. Good evening, Cambridge. I'm Shalhavit.
I'm Buriana.
Welcome to Science of Joy. Can we learn to live a better life?
Can we make our life better? Yes, we can.
There's a field of study called positive psychology that we're going to introduce in this show. Positive psychology is basically the psychology that focuses on study of motivation, of well-being,
Virtues, strengths,
resiliency, emotional resiliency. And we're going to introduce in this show, in this following year, we're going to introduce different topics of study and studies that have been done on our emotional and our overall well-being. So I'm really excited.
and we hope to help your lives get better, and that maybe you'll start living a healthier, happier life by learning some of the tools and findings of research from positive psychology and how you can actually apply that in your real life. Because we're not only studying it, we actually live it. We always apply everything. So we'll be speaking from our knowledge background, from scientific background, but also from our own experiences and our lives.
So, Boriana, let's give our viewers a little bit of background about ourselves. Where are we coming from? How do we know what we're talking about?
Right. So my journey started late 2007, 2008. I started studying psychology at Harvard, and I actually met Tal Ben-Shahar and took his most popular class at that time at Harvard on positive psychology, the science of happiness, and that started this transformational process in my life. And then I furthered my studies in positive psychology through a certification year-long program, and I've been consulting, speaking at different workshops or giving lectures and presentations, and then different radio and TV shows that involve some of that knowledge from positive psychology. And I'm writing, and
She's an artist too.
I'm an artist, but yeah, that actually also helps the
That's what she
the
practices.
whole process. Yeah, practicing the.
And we're going to talk about art and flow and being in the process and really finding what you're passionate about. And I'm Shalhavit Simchat Cohen, and I come from Israel. But I really came here to work with Tal Ben-Shahar. I was working with him, I don't remember. Well, back in 2005, the course Positive Psychology, or the happiness class, was the most popular class at Harvard University. And basically, the course was presenting the science that we're going to present in this show, in the following series. I was working with Tal as a project manager, so publishing the book and basically taking the research and the presentations and the lectures and trying to apply it and I guess leverage it to the main public, which is really what we're doing in this show. Since then, I've also been leading workshops and sessions and seminars and a lot of videos. And this is going to be the television series that's going to focus on studies of positive psychology. So I also have been focusing on psychology and studying and working at Harvard with Ellen Langer and being close with several professors that study the different topics that we're going to be talking about, such as well-being, such as motivation, such as self-esteem, and so on and so forth. So I'm really excited to share this information with you together with Boriana. We're both really excited to introduce this field called positive psychology. Just got the logo here for you. And we'd like to start off with talking a little bit about the research. So positive psychology is or let's start with psychology until today, I guess traditional psychology. Until maybe 20 or actually 30 years ago, most of psychology was asking what is not working and how can we fix
What's wrong, and trying to digging in, and certainly there are a lot of conditions that need addressing
Yeah.
how they can be fixed. But
Right.
then
And those are very important questions. It's important to treat depression, it's important to treat anxiety. But how does this problem start? How does depression come to be? It's obviously it's a lack of. And we're not going to be claiming here that once you study this and once you learn these tools, you're not going to be depressed anymore. This is not the issue. It's more studying tools of resiliency. It's just like boosting your emotional immune system or emotional resiliency. So it's not like you're never going to feel bad after learning these tools or after engaging in those practices. It's kind of like a stronger immune system, right? When you have a strong immune
psychological,
system,
emotional, and also physical immune system can actually be improved.
Yeah. So like when you have a strong immune system, it's not like you never get sick. You
just get sick less often.
Right. And when you do get sick, you overcome it better.
And faster, yeah.
Right. So the tools that we're going to be discussing are not tools that are going to make you totally happy all the time.
It's not a magic wand. There's
Yes.
no quick fix. It's just about actually transforming your life and embarking on this journey. It's a journey. It's not something that would instantly transform you forever and ever.
Right. In fact, those tools are not all about just feeling happy. We're going to mention a lot a topic of study actually called permission to be human, permission to feel, and actually the importance of negative emotions in our life.
And how can you grow from traumatic experiences?
Right, and how to deal with negative emotions. I was just talking to Boriana on the way here. There's a study, actually, what's her name? There's a girl at Harvard that just followed millionaires that won the lottery, and really, the people that won the lottery and that completely changed their lives, and really measured how are their levels of well-being, stayed for, did it stay for a long time, right? And there's another research of following people who went through traumatic experiences, and the interesting thing is that they don't differ that much. And there's some interviews of I forgot who it was, but a man that went into 20 years of prison for something he actually didn't do, and they asked him once he left, just reflecting back, and he said, I wouldn't change my life any better. This experience made me so much happier. And there, at the same time, there are quotations of people who won the lottery and said that devastated their lives. So it's not always the experience, it is what you do with the experience.
How you perceive it. That reminds me also of Nelson Mandela, how he grew out of his long stay at prison.
Nelson Mandela.
Yeah. But that's actually the point, that you can transform your life through shifting your perspective on things. How you perceive things is actually how you experience your life. And you can consciously change that, and that's the beauty of the newest research, is that actually for a long time it was considered that if you're feeling more on the depressed side, or if you're more of a joyous, happy person, that is defined just by your genetic information, and that's whatever you were dealt with, that's what you get for a life. But actually that's just covering about 50% on average of your actually experience for life.
Right.
The rest of it, so there's about 10% that would be your environment, and that's of course excluding any extreme political regimes.
Those are the
or
percentage of
poverty,
how you feel.
Yeah,
right. So some of us are genetically more prone to feel good. Some are genetically more prone to depression.
Yeah. But then there's all this
50%.
That's on average, but about 40% of that is actually what you do, how you behave, and that is something that you can change. And just realizing how much actually room you have, how much actually power you have over that.
So you said 50% is nature, and how much is nature?
40%.
Then
10%
that is a lot.
For your environment, because that affects you.
10% is your environment. Isn't that bad?
And then the rest of it is your choice to actually start doing things differently.
Like we think that our environment is really like, sometimes we feel as and it's a term also in psychology, like a victim, like a passive victim.
Helplessness.
Yeah, sometimes we look at reality and we think that reality is this is my reality, so
What
of
can
course
I
I'm
do?
gonna feel bad.
Yeah.
But apparently that's only 10% of your experience is just what's happening around you. 40% of what you experience is your choice. 50% is what you're born with. But we could totally use those and overall.
So there's this happiness-based level that actually is your overall feeling or perception, well-being of how happy you are. And normally you fluctuate up and down. There's something nice happens. I had coffee with Shao today, and that made me really happy. But then I got a parking ticket, so that made me sad. And we go up and down throughout the day. No, it was just an example.
Oh my God. Okay.
But things happen throughout our day and throughout our life as well. So you lose someone dear. Normally you'll be sad for a long time. You win the lottery, you'll be happy for a few months, but then that wears off. So you always go up and down, but you come up to that base level, and then actually through changing your behavior and your attitude, your perception of your life, you can actually improve that base level. So you can actually raise that a little higher. So you'll still be going up and down, but you'll be coming up to a higher base level.
Right, and that brings me to actually a research that was done in the University of Pennsylvania, where they gave 200 students participated in the experiments, and every student got a $100 bill, and half of the students were told go, and I might be a little bit off with the numbers. I'm not sure if it was exactly $100, but I'm pretty sure. But we could look it up. But half of the students were told to go and do something for themselves, and half of the students were told to go and do something for someone else. And when they came back, so some of them went to the mall to get chocolate or whatever, and some actually went to do whatever your beautiful imagination could come up with for doing stuff for someone else. Actually, try and think, what would you do if you had $100 to do for someone else? Because that is a big question to think about.
Take that as a homework.
And we would like to introduce time in, which is a term started by Tal Ben-Shahar, I believe, which is a Harvard professor, who started with that class that got really popular. And in the class, he has moments of time in, and he asks the question and gives the students a few moments of silence. We're not going to have that silence. We're just going to leave it for you. So the question is, what would you do if you had $100 and
do something for someone else?
It's just a nice thing to think about for now. We're going to give you some more rigorous homework later. But the students came back and they traced the levels of overall well-being. So you could check those levels. It's a good question, how do we really trace that? Some is by questionnaires of really how the person is feeling and thinking about how they're feeling. But some is actually just physical. You could check the blood pressure, the strength of the immune system, but actually some physical ways that you could measure levels of strength and well-being. Anyway, so the students that went and bought something for themselves felt good for a while. That feeling stayed for a few hours, sometimes a day, maybe two. Those who did something for someone else felt good for between days to even weeks, sometimes even a month. That good feeling stayed for much longer. And it seems like our brain is kind of structured in a way that, working with people and helping other people makes us feel really, really good, and it's a very, very stable emotion. We're going to give a lot of examples here. I kind of forgot why I started with this example. I think I actually meant to speak about a different study at UPenn. But this is just an example of one of the study fields that we're going to, or the research topics that we're going to bring up and share with you those examples to think about your life. Actually, tonight is...
you had this summer that experience, you had to kind of sit down with yourself and think about your
I was going to talk about good experiences and bad experiences, which is also a study at UPenn, of experiencing good and bad experiences, and I'll mention it at a different time, but apparently it's important to also let yourself experience negative emotions, and we're going to talk about that more. But Brianna and I
How
haven't
to-
seen each other over the summer, and as we were walking here, I told her that I decided to totally change my field of concentration at Harvard. I started with psychology, and over the summer, 3 good friends of mine, I was visiting Israel, and week after week, three dear people to me died, each one in a different way, and it's pretty tragic. And people ask me, "How was your summer?" And I'm like, "Well, 3 of my friends died," but that totally transformed me, and it made me think really about my life and about what I want to do, and I decided that, it's like, what if I'm gonna die next year? I'm not gonna, I know that I don't love reading so much. Actually, what I really love to do is making video, making educational videos, such as this one, and hopefully in the future more like, game and anyway. So yes, I decided to change my concentration and study digital media, and I'm really excited. I given my first homework yesterday. It was a video that I produced for class. What an awesome way of doing homework! I didn't have to write anything besides the title and maybe the description of the video.
And that actually is a very good example of how often we think that we want to do things that we have to do things that we're expected, that either society or our family, parents or peers expect, or what is considered to be a good career path or marriage
Those expectations that
all these expectations that are external and maybe not always apply personally to our own experience, to our own authentic perception of who we are and what our life should be. So, I mean, sometimes you have to really, like, something would hit you hard and would make you face that realization, oh, what am I doing with my life? What do I really, really, really want to do with my life?
What do I really, really, really
want to do with my life? Is it what I'm doing, or maybe it's something that something a little bit different, but then again building on from where you are, and it's not always easy to change paths, but the more you are in touch with who you are, with your authentic self, knowing yourself and letting everybody else know you, the better you'll be feeling, and you'll see how your whole environment would somehow concentrate and kind of help you. That feeling that a lot of people would say, oh, I feel like the whole universe is actually, conspiring to help me, and I'm meeting the right people, I'm meeting I'm being in the right places at the right time. So everything kind of starts to find its right place.
Yeah.
But you have to start with really facing who you are, what you really want to do.
Yeah, and it's really up to you to ask those questions, and I guess
you don't have to wait for something tragic to happen. You can just sit down and talk with a friend or start writing and see what comes up.
Yeah, writing is actually, that's the one I wanted to talk about. The study was asking students to write about a positive experience and asking them to write about a very negative experience. And also, after doing the writing assignments, they found that there was no difference between the overall well-being that was felt on both sides. Both the students that wrote about a negative experience and those that wrote about a positive experience felt better after, in a very similar way, almost the same way. So
and actually, with those actually studies, because there's a series of those studies on writing and positive effect. Besides the emotional well-being, people in the study were experiencing a overall physical health improvement. They would get less often sick, or they will recover faster. So it was actually helping their immune system get stronger as well. So there's a lot of all these tools from positive psychology permeate all areas of our lives. They're not just about emotions or relationships, but
Throwing
they
the logo
really,
in,
yeah,
positive
they
psychology.
go all the way through your physical health, work, creativity, relationships, parenting, interactions with your peers, with your friends. So it's a really holistic approach
And
to
this,
improve your life, to lead a healthier and happier life. So both, and have more meaning in your life. So it's not just about being happy right now and have a party. It's about actually experiencing overall long-term happiness, which implies that base level that you're coming back to, that you're actually feeling good about knowing where your life is headed, and that you've actually
that sense of meaning.
you're leading a meaningful life. Yeah.
Right.
And that you have a purpose in that life.
Yeah, what was that article that I read recently? It was about, like, how do you actually, it was actually Tal, again, but he was quoting someone else, and kind of like measuring, it was a study on self-esteem, and what they found that apparently there's different kinds of self-esteem, and we're going to also talk about that more. But the people who experienced a stable sense of self-esteem were people that felt that they have a meaning, a purpose for their life that is outside of themselves. And that is also a very interesting thought to ponder about, something that is not related to me that I'm doing for the world, right? And that connects me to the previous research study of those $100 bills. When you have a sense of meaning that you're doing that is not for your own personal well-being. You could say that I'm enjoying, I'm doing it for other people because I love feeling good, because other people are feeling good, but that's really what it's all about. Don't feel bad about feeling good, that other people are feeling good. I hope I didn't confuse you. But the point is, when you feel like when you have a purpose, when you have a meaning in your life, your self-esteem is not totally dependent on, validations of others of you, because you have this other entity that you're living for, that is meaningful to you and is not selfish, and that way your self-esteem is kind of not stuck, and it's not stuck in how do people approve me or appreciate me, because I'm connected to something much bigger. And anyway, so in terms of study, self-esteem is very related to something external. And we wanted to share just a short video of Tal actually explaining a little bit and showing on the side the different topics that we're going to be discussing, but the transition of psychology into today, we're going to mention this word psychology a lot, but we decided to title the show as Science of Joy, because psychology could be a scary word, and it's really studying what makes our lives better. So here's Tal.
Yeah, to wrap up with that, and it's all about
spread a little happiness till dreams come true.
Today, most of the field of psychology is tilted toward focusing on the negative. For example, what is the first question that an organizational behaviorist, a consultant, would ask in an organization? The first question, explicit or implicit, is, what's the problem? What's not working? What do I need to improve? It's a very important question. Positive psychology says let's ask that, and also ask what is working in the organization. Or a couples counselor. What question would a couples counselor usually ask, explicitly or implicitly, the first time the couple comes to therapy? What's wrong? What's the problem? What brings you here? That's an important question to ask. What positive psychology is saying, let's also ask what is working in the relationship. What are the strengths and the virtues in each individual and in you two together?
And when the darkest clouds are in the sky, you mustn't sigh.
So this is a little bit a moment of Tal kind of showing, where does positive psychology come from, what does psychology used to be, and really what is the focus? We're focusing on what works, why does it work, and how can we make it work for us?
And how can we replicate more of what actually works, more of our strengths? How can we use them better? So we'll be bringing a lot of different topics and research in all different areas of our lives, and how you can actually apply that to your own life and improve it.
Yes.
So come back and watch us again.
Yeah, we're totally excited to start this. This is going to be an awesome, awesome time. I'm so happy that I have Brianna with me. We both come from the same field of study, and this is going to be an amazing clash of brains. And I hope you guys could learn from this. I hope we could all learn from this. And it's really not about just information, it's about transformation. So the question to take home would be, let's see, we had what do I really want to do? What other questions do we have? If you had
What do I
$100
really,
bills.
really want to do with my life?
Yeah.
What would you do for someone else
And if you have
had
$100 bill.
$100 bill?
And yeah, and if you have like a meaning that is outside of yourself that you're living for. And that's just the question to start pondering about. And it is okay if you don't have an answer. Just come watch us next week. And actually in 2 weeks. It's going to be every 2 weeks. So we're really excited. And thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.